The IMF warns of a global growth contraction, and banks have reportedly been invited for the upcoming Borouge IPO. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. The IMF will lower its global growth forecast next month after the war in Ukraine and massive sanctions against Russia triggered a contraction in global trade, sending food and energy prices sharply higher. The IMF had already lowered its economic forecast for the global economy in January, citing risks linked to the COVID-19 pandemic, rising inflation, supply disruptions, and U.S. monetary tightening. IMF officials gave no detailed forecast for the global economy, but the fund is due to release its updated World Economic Outlook in mid-April. The U.S. Senate has approved legislation to allocate $13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine as part of a $1.5 trillion package to fund the federal government through September 30th. President Biden is expected to sign the bill into law, averting agency shutdowns ahead of tonight's deadline when existing U.S. government funds expire. The aid for Ukraine is designed to finance ammunition and other military supplies, as well as provide humanitarian support. Data from U.S. Labor Department shows consumer prices in February rose 7.9% from a year ago, and soaring energy prices mean high inflation is likely to persist as Russia's war pushes up the price of crude oil and other commodities. Prices in February saw their largest annual increase in 40 years, up almost 8% in the last 12 months. Inflation has far overshot the Federal Reserve's 2% target, and the U.S. Central Bank is expected to start raising interest rates next Wednesday to dampen the price surge. Goldman Sachs is winding down its business in Russia, becoming the first big Wall Street bank to pull out of the country. Goldman says the move follows regulatory and licensing requirements. It says it's focused on supporting clients as it manages or closes out pre-existing obligations in the market. Egypt is taking measures to safeguard its food reserves as it bans the export of key staples including flour, lentils, wheat, pasta, and fava beans. The ban will apply for 3 months. Egypt imports most of its wheat from Russia and Ukraine, using those supplies as the cornerstone of a bread subsidy program for millions of people. In other news, ADNOC and Austria's chemical firm Borealis have reportedly invited regional banks to participate in the IPO of their joint venture Borouge. Borouge produces industrial raw materials used in everything from industrial-grade pipes to cables, films, and PPE. Last year, ADNOC signed a $6.2 billion investment agreement with Borealis to establish the fourth Borouge facility at the polyolefin manufacturing complex in the downstream hub of Ruwais, UAE. Lebanon has imposed a travel ban on CEOs of 5 banks as efforts continue to contain the nation's overwhelming economic crisis. The move comes as Lebanon suffered a $69 billion deficit in its financial system as of September last year, with the malfunctioning banking system continuing to drain the central bank's reserves. Officials say any government contribution to offset the deficit would be limited to maintain public debt stability. Let's take a look now at today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking, which tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's richest people. Our biggest winner today is Jeff Bezos, up $7.5 billion with net wealth of $172.6 billion. Our second biggest winner today is Gautam Adani and family, up $2.9 billion with net wealth of $89.8 billion. And our third place winner is Mackenzie Scott, up $2.2 billion with net wealth of $44 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest billionaires news. The UAE has been ranked as the 4th most interested country in the metaverse globally. Hungarian company Broker Chooser analyzed metaverse-related Google searches per million people to reveal the countries interested the most in metaverse technology. The UAE was in 4th place globally with average monthly searches of 19,000. In terms of other Arab countries, Morocco came in 26th place, while Saudi Arabia came in 36th and Egypt in 37th. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.